Hey everybody, Ed Homewood, Old Guy Hi-Fi channel. I hope everyone's doing well today. Today we're going to talk about a headphone that is actually a collaboration between Apos Audio and Audio Technica. So sit back, relax. We're going to talk about, it's a really fascinating set of headphones. Well, before we get started, big shout out to Apos Audio for loaning me these Audio Technica Apos Audio headphones for review. They did loan them to me, but all of my opinions and conclusions are my own. In the spirit of full disclosure, if they are available, there will be an affiliate link in the pinned comment and in the video description. So now let's get on with the rest of this review. So what is this collaboration between Apos Audio and Audio Technica? Well, it is an update of a headphone that I guess they worked on together before called the ATH-R70, and this is called the ATH-R70x Refined. So it's an updated version of it. I'll put specs over here. The basics are it's an open back dynamic driver headphone, uses a 45mm dynamic driver. Good frequency response. Sound quality we'll talk about in a minute. Really interesting clamping mechanism. It fits comfortably. Well, again, we'll talk about that in just a second. One word of warning, they are a little bit challenging to drive at 98 dB and 470 ohms. So you'll need a fairly decently stout headphone amp for them. And one complaint I have is the cable it comes with. Now, the cable itself is a good length. It's not microphonic. It's a little bit stiff. But all cables are a pain in the neck most of the time. But it uses a 2.5mm twist and lock connector that fits into the ear cup, and it doesn't tell you which one's left and which one's right. Now I'm going to read you something that I took a quote directly off the Apos Audio website, and it says, note, the headphones are designed so that the stock unbalanced cable will always play the correct audio channel regardless of how it is plugged in. No, I had to use a headphone amp with a balance control to figure out which one was left and right. And although I took it off, I did put a little piece of blue painter's tape on it so I could remember which one was which. It's a minor niggle. It is a nice headphone cable. It's fine. The headphones themselves more than make up for any shortcoming in the cable themselves. The ear pads are super comfortable. They're velour. The clamping force was really light. It has this kind of unique headband on it. I found it to be really, really comfortable. They only weigh 7.5 ounces, and I could wear them for long, long periods of time. The velour ear cups are really comfortable. I never felt like my ears were touching the inside of the cup, and the inside of the cup is very lightly, thinly padded with a little piece of, acoustic velour or something in it. But it's just really comfortable, and I could wear them for long periods of time, without my ears getting all sweaty and it getting uncomfortable. And I think that's pretty good. It is just a really good sounding headphone. So let's do this. Let me tell you how I tested it, some of the music I used, and then I'll summarize my final thoughts. So to test these headphones, I came up with a couple of different setups. One of the ones I was really hoping to use was the Gremlin from Apos Audio. This is a cool little tube headphone amp, but unfortunately it's balanced only. And while Apos Audio sent me one of their cables, this one had the standard 3.5mm ear cup jack or connection, not that twist and lock 2.5mm that the Audio Technica uses. So I was unable to use the Gremlin, but I wanted to use tubes. So I did. I used my X-Duo TA20 Plus, and that's a beautiful little tube headphone amp. I've got Ray Select 12AU7s in it right now, and to use as a DAC for that, I used the Gishelli J2S AK4499 with Burson V7 Vivid op amps in it as an upgrade, and that was a great combination. Now, the TA20 Plus is a very good unit, but it's not super powerful, and while it drove these okay for my listening levels, if you're a loud listener, that might not be enough juice for that, but boy, was it warm and detailed and beautiful and lovely, and just an amazing sound. Also too, I used the brand new FIO K15. That is an AKM 4497S, dual AKM 4497S DAC chip unit, and a very powerful full Class A solid state headphone amp. Beautiful unit, lovely stuff. And that worked extraordinarily well with the Audio-Technica. Good, clean sound. There is some warmth in it because of the AKM chipset, and I think the amp section has got a little bit of warmth in it, the Class A amp section. So that worked very well. I also used, and you'll see it sitting here, it's a little tough to see, but the Shanling EC0T CD player DAC headphone amp unit. Wonderful little single piece, but it has tubes in it, and that sounded really good. Again, on the single-ended side, it's not super powerful. It played it plenty loud for me, and most of the time when I was using it, I was either sitting in a chair, I was outside, whatever. I wasn't sitting here at my desk where I had tons of powerful stuff to plug in. I just wanted something easy and portable to carry around with me. And so that was a great combination. But again, you know, if you listen loud, it might not have been the best choice. I also used the Yulong Dart A39 headphone amp preamp in combination with the Yulong Dart D39 DAC. Now that uses the latest ESS Sabre 9039 MS Pro DAC chip. That's a really good combination. That's a very powerful headphone amp. And these new ESS DAC chips, lo and behold, they're not sending me off running screaming with their sound. They're actually pretty good. And I'm coming around maybe a bit on that particular DAC chip. But then on the high end, to give them really the best possible signal, I did use the Live Harmony HP2A headphone amp, along with the Live Micro DAC, and that was an amazing combination. Now the Harmony DAC can produce, Harmony headphone amp can produce almost 12 watts RMS of power. So it had no trouble driving these, and that was a very good, very detailed, really resolute combination. Really worked well. So the X Duo unit and the Gishelli DAC, warm, smooth, detailed, very nice. Could have used a little bit more power. The Shanling EC0T CD player with tubes in it, also warm and lush and beautiful sounding and great for portable use, but maybe needed a little more juice if you listen loud. The FIO K15 was a killer, and I would imagine the K17 and the K9 AKM would all be excellent choices with this headphone, but the K15 sounded great, powerful, ballsy, really good. The Yulong Dart combination, the A39, D39, again, very powerful, very resolute, very clean. And then the Live HP2A and Micro DAC, that's a very high-end combination, and these things sang just marvelously. They really performed well. So let's do this. Let's talk about some of the music I used, and we'll wrap this up. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about the music tracks I used, and then I'm going to kind of give a little bit of a sound character for each of those tracks listening on these headphones. So to do this, I used my headphone Hi-Fi playlist. There'll be a link to the Tidal and Qobuz versions of them in the video description. I won't link to the individual tracks because you'll find them in the playlist. So the first track was this track, Magnetized, from Johnny Hates Jazz. Now, I loved Johnny Hates Jazz back in the 80s. I thought they were great. Good British kind of, I don't know, maybe a boy band, but they had good hooks, good melodies. I really enjoyed their music. This is from their 2013 kind of comeback album. Only two of the original members came back, and this is a really good, very synth-laden, good hooks, good pop melody, really good pop song, well written, well performed. Clark Datchler, the lead singer's voice is tremendous. He always was really good. And the lyrics are really cool. It talks about, there's kind of some emotional attraction, some vulnerability, you know, exposing a person's vulnerability. It's really, really nice. I liked it. Now, on the headphones, one characteristic of these headphones are they have a very good punchy mid-range. They've got good bass, but the mid-range attack, toms, snare, fingers on electric bass, some of the synth bass, really good and punchy, very, very good. And then overall the vocals in it, this is the only track that has any vocals on it. The vocals were really well presented. The mid-range is smooth and detailed, and depending on the rig you have it connected to, like the two rigs I have with tubes, the X Duo and the Shanling CD player both have tubes, and the X Duo more than the Shanling has a tube sound to it, was really warm and lush and smooth and just so easy to listen to. Now on the FIO, A little bit more detailed, but still had a warmth to it, but still very smooth and very detailed. And on the U-Long, it's a really powerful headphone amp, but it uses an ESS Sabre DAC, so it was slightly cooler, not fatiguing. I think some of these new DACs, this new 9039 stuff from ESS, I think they're starting to get it right, and I can listen to them without a lot of fatigue. They're still maybe just a hint of glare. But with these headphones, with their overall sound characteristics of being very warm, it was unnoticeable, and I could listen for hours without any issue at all. So let's talk about the next track I used. So the next track I used was this track from the band Home called Come Back Down. It's off their 2014 album Odyssey, and this is a really dreamy kind of synth laden chill wave track, really interesting. It blends kind of nostalgic 80s style synth sounds, warm melodies, and it's got a good steady mid-tempo beat. Really kind of evokes a very mellow and kind of reflective mood. It is not doof music. It's got, like I said, it's got a kind of really nice steady mid-tempo beat to it, and it carries this blend of ambient textures and kind of rhythmic pulsing that fits perfectly alongside some of the other great tracks on this album like Resonance and Native. It really is nice. It's full of mellow energy and kind of, I don't know, maybe a retro futuristic sort of atmosphere. It's really, really a great track, and you got to give it a listen. So let's talk about the last track I used. Well, the last track I'm going to talk about is this track, Dice Ambient. It is from Kazusa and Shingo Nakamura, the two collaborated, and it's off of a collection of ambient electronic music put together by a gentleman named Solarstone, and the album's called Electronic Architecture 2 Ambient Edition. So this is an ambient version of their original kind of progressive trance tune, Dice. And it's really interesting. It layers kind of very emotive, kind of melancholic piano motifs along with some really shimmering synth pads into this really kind of gently rolling, contemplative sort of soundscape with really good kind of ambient textures and this very open sound, a very large sound stage. It really fills your head, really interesting, and these headphones do a good job with that. I would call it very calming, very relaxing. It's a very beautiful tune. It evokes kind of a warm, almost Balearic lounge atmosphere. Really good for relaxed listening. So what do I mean when I say Balearic? Now, Balearic refers to a type of music rooted in the relaxed and sun-drenched and eclectic sounds popularized by DJs in Ibiza, which of course is part of Spain's Balearic islands. And this is a kind of an 80s, 90s sort of thing. So Balearic generally means it's very chill, down tempo or ambient mood, in this case ambient mood. They're lush, melodic, kind of emotional textures, very laid back, beachy, kind of a sunset vibe. It's a really interesting blend of kind of ambient house, world music, soft rock, trance, new age. Very, very interesting, very relaxing, very cool. And again, that's what that Balearic kind of means, the Ibiza stuff, which of course, now Solarstone's a British artist, and of course Ibiza is a very popular holiday spot for the Brits. So really, really good. Now on these headphones, there is some very, I don't know, it's kind of got an aggressive top end. The song itself, no matter how you listen to it, what you listen to it on, it's got a little bit of energy in the upper frequencies. But with these headphones, it's not annoying. It's not fatiguing. It's not strident. It's still, you can hear the detail, and it's all synthesizers, and all of the imaging is created in the studio. But there is an awful lot of that kind of upper mid-range energy, and with these particular headphones, you don't get that so much. It kind of smooths things out, but I don't feel like I was missing any detail. I've been listening to this song, this particular track, and this song and this album for many, many years, and I listened to it on almost everything I've ever had in here. And I gotta say, on these headphones, it is quite a rewarding listen to because it's very smooth and very lush sounding. So let me go right into the summary. These headphones, for the money, I think are awesome. And again, I don't know about availability. If I find out, I'll put it again down here when I can find out from Apos Audio. They are well worth the $300. Probably the best dynamic driver open back headphone I've heard to date. How do they compare against the FIO FT1s? They're more open, more kind of atmospheric, I guess. The soundstage is more open and every bit is detailed. They're a little warmer, and they're a little bit faster sounding in the mid bass, especially than the FT1s, which is a great headphone. Now, how do they compare it against some of the planar magnetic headphones? Let's take the FT1 Pro. They're on a par with that. The FT1 Pros are a little less expensive. They're similar. The FT1 Pros, again, maybe a little bit faster and a little bit extra energy on the top end, maybe more detail, not necessarily anything that you would notice. I just think planar magnetics do better with upper frequencies as far as speed and ultimately as far as detail. In their price range, the next one that comes to mind for me would be the Sennheiser Massdrop 6XX or some of the HD 6XX series from Sennheiser. And these, I think, are a better headphone. I have the 6XX. I think this is a better headphone. I think now, the Sennheisers do great in mid-range, but they don't have a lot of low end, and they don't have a lot of punch. They're decently detailed through the mid-range and decently detailed in the upper frequencies, but these have, I think, a better bass response. They've got a more punchy mid-bass, which is really rewarding to listen to, especially if you like rock or anything like that. Now, on classical music, maybe not the best headphone in the world, but very listenable. It just depends on what it is. If you're listening to a lot of Baroque music, which tends to be in that mid-range and upper mid-range frequencies with strings and horns and things like that, they're very rewarding. But for massed strings and things like that, that can sound a little bit congested, but still, it's a really rewarding. I like this headphone for the music that you'll find in my headphone hi-fi playlist. Excellent headphone. I think well worth the money. Extraordinarily well built. And again, amazingly comfortable with these little wacky, I don't know, it's kind of, they're very comfortable, very lightweight. That's what I like about them. Well, again, big shout out to the folks at Apos Audio for loaning me these headphones for a review. And again, they loaned them to me, but all the opinions and conclusions are my own. And again, if they are available, there will be an affiliate link in the pinned comment and video description. Well, hopefully you enjoyed that video. Hopefully be willing to give me a thumbs up and your subscription. That would be great. I'd like to thank my channel members and subscribers and viewers. You guys treat me so well and I appreciate it. If you are so inclined to join the channel, there will be a membership link in the pinned comment and in the video description. There will also be a title and co-buzz link to the playlist I use for this review in the video description. There's some additional affiliate links in the video description. You guys know the drill on that stuff. There's also a link to the community post playlist. Please check that out. There's some great music there. Please comment. Let me know your thoughts. Where are you at on headphones? Do you like dynamic driver versus planar magnetic? Do you like lightweight? Do you like something closed back, open back? Share with me your thoughts on those sorts of things. I think that's everything I need to cover for this particular video. It is. Please like, please subscribe, please comment, and if you want to, again, you can follow me on Instagram if you're so inclined. My name is Ed Homewood. This is the Old Guy Hi-Fi channel, and you know what I'm going to say. It is your obligation. You owe it to yourself to put on some beautiful music. Just sit back and relax and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much for your time. I'm grateful for it. Thanks. I hope you have a wonderful day.